What's up? What's up? Haha. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope everybody's doing well. It's a beautiful day out. And man, what an event last night that Elon and Tesla put together. And if anybody knows me, if you've ever watched my videos, I talk about Tesla a lot. I'm just so excited about the things that they're working on and the future of the company and really the future of the world. And I watched this event last night, the We Robot event, and I'm like, man, a lot of things that I've said in past videos, they're talking about on stage, right? And I'm like, wow. And all right, so let's just get into it. I'll show you real quick. I just want to give you my highlights. I want to tell you my takeaways. So first things first, right there, Robotaxi. That is nuts, right? That is a self-driving car that has no steering wheel, no gas pedal, just drives you where you got to go. And people, you're probably like, oh, dude, that's science fiction. It'll never happen. The cars are already doing it, right? Any Tesla on the road is capable of full self-driving already. The cars already do it. So he's just upping it up a notch. And let's just take out the steering wheel, take out the gas pedals, and just make it totally full self-driving, right? Like here's some images they shared of the interior, right? So if you didn't watch the event, it was basically We Robot. They went to Warner Brothers Studios in California. They built a set and they brought out all this cool stuff they've been working on, which is the future of the world. Okay. These aren't like concepts. These I would say are like pre-production. They're working on it. It will be out. Okay. And I'll get into it. So here's the Robotaxi, right? That's another one. That thing's so cool too. That's the Robovan. We'll get to that in a second. So here's the Robotaxi, just some renderings that they shared. Basically it drives you around, full self-driving. Okay. So that he's saying 2026, 2027 will be out. Again, you got to watch Elon with the timelines, but what does this mean? What does this car really mean, right? So one thing that he said, and I'm confident I've talked about this in videos before. So how much do we drive our cars in a week, right? How much time do we spend behind the wheel? So he used the example 10 hours a week you're actually driving, and that's probably accurate for most people. There's 168 hours in a week, right? What if your car could just work for you for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 hours a week, right? You could buy this car. It'll take you where you need to go. And then while you're at work, you're at church, you're at the mall, you're at a movie, whatever you're doing, your car's out just working for you, giving people rides. Like that's kind of what the vision is, right? It's about making humanity better, freeing up time, allowing us to do other things in life and not focusing on these mundane tasks that computers are capable of doing already, right? So Robotaxi, that's the vision. Under 30,000 is the goal, coming soon, okay? The next one is this thing right here, the Robovan. This thing is nuts, okay? Reminds me of this picture. Remember that everyone's seen this like Art Deco train, from back in the 30s, right? The future of rail. That's the Robovan, okay? So the Robovan is to move people, right? Like 20 people. It's crazy looking, but look at the Cybertruck. Like he's already built stuff like this, right? And it's so wild because it's just a blank slate. So you can fit like 20 people in there. It can be fit to deliver goods. So imagine these things are just driving around doing deliveries. And again, it's the future of AI. It's the future of transportation. And all this stuff is not that far away, right? He's saying these things will be in production in a year or two. I mean, this looks similar to a Model 3. Model 3 is already being built, right? It's Cybertrucky version of the Model 3, right? That's already being built. That's a car that's out. They sell hundreds of thousands a year of them. And it's, so this is not far-fetched, guys. Like this is really happening. This is where our world is going. It's very exciting. Okay. So, and then the last thing he brought out was the bots, right? So the Tesla bots. I mean, these things are nuts, right? And imagine now you could have a bot that would literally, like, look, here's a video somebody posted right here on Twitter. like the things making drinks. This is all AI powered, guys. All right. This is like reality. They're developing this, and the same AI power that controls the cars, the full self-driving, which is cameras, right? Based on visual inputs, based on human beings driving. So one of the things he said with the cars and why FSD is so good in the self-driving is they have millions and millions and millions of miles of people driving to learn from. Like they showed videos of some of the crazy things that these cars have learned from. More things than any of us will ever see in a lifetime. And the bots work the same way. It's the same AI power. It's the same cameras. It's the same manufacturing process. Like that's how you scale it. The same way you build the motors for the cars and the batteries for the cars and the compute power for the cars, they just build it for the robots. And like Boston Dynamics been building bots for years. They'll never scale it. They'll never make money on it. It's too like, they don't have the ability to scale, where Tesla has already demonstrated they can scale this stuff. So it already exists. And then this makes me think too, like, think about our kids. Like my son's 9 years old, right? So he'll be 16 in 7 years. That's just wild to even think about that. So he'll be 16 in 7 years. So, I think he will probably get a driver's license. He'll probably drive, right? And this will be kind of starting to really push out at that time, and that's where the transition takes place. But my niece, her daughter's 2 years old. So 14 years from now is when she'll be 16, which again, mind blowing. I don't think she'll ever get a driver's license. I really don't. That's my prediction. I don't think she'll need it. Now, living in Massachusetts and how crazy a nanny state this place can be sometime, they'll probably come up with some convoluted process to be able to drive in a self-driving car that's just accepted in 49 other states. But that's another conversation. But I don't think our kids and our grandkids, well, really our kids will be, I don't think they'll be driving. I don't think that's going to be a thing like it was for us, right? Like getting taken from A to B is just going to happen. It's just a thing that's just going to happen, right? And, you guys are probably like, oh, Dave, you're so crazy. Like, this is nuts. This will never happen. Well, it's already happened, whether you like it or not. And, this is my investment thesis in Tesla. Not financial advice by any means, but this is my investment thesis in Tesla. Now, let's tie this into something, because there was something like this that has already happened in our lifetimes. And I don't think we realized the impact that this thing had when it was announced. And now when I talk about it, I think you're all going to be like, I think you're right. Okay. So right here in my hand, I have an iPhone. Okay. And this iPhone was first announced in January of 2007. I'm going to show the clip. All right. This is Steve Jobs. So you have to understand, like, we are so blessed in our lifetimes that we've had these geniuses that will go down in history to be able to experience firsthand their impact on humanity. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, two geniuses that changed the world. Okay, so here's Steve Jobs in 2007. Hopefully the sound goes.
An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it? These are not three separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone.
So right there, okay, what happened there? Okay, so go back to 2007. What was the best phone you could have? It was a BlackBerry, a Nokia, right? They made phone calls. They had a little clickety buttons on them, right? Sometimes they played music. They had very rudimentary online browsing. You were scared when you hit the browser because you're like, oh my God, this is going to cost me crazy money. A phone plan was like how many minutes you could get. So the phone was for talking, right? And in 2007, Steve Jobs came and totally reimagined the phone and changed it. So like he said right there, 3 devices in one. That was just in the beginning, right? An iPod, so music consumption, a phone to call people, and a handheld internet device, right? Now, let's fast forward 17 years, 16 generations of iPhone later, And what do we have? What has the iPhone done to change everything? Like, here's some examples, right? Internet right now is all mobile based. If you have a website and it doesn't work on mobile, you're dead. You're trying to sell stuff online and it's not optimized for mobile, you're dead. And that came from this, right? What else can you do? Social media. What was social media in 07? It was very rudimentary on a computer. Now, social media, like it or not, right? It's the controls the world. Like, everything goes through social media. It unites everybody in the world. The world has the ability to communicate. It shrunk the planet. And it all takes place primarily on the iPhone, right? Navigation. How did we navigate in 2007? I mean, I was still printing out MapQuest directions, right? Because the Garmin thing was wicked expensive and it didn't really work right and it didn't show traffic. Those devices are all gone unless you're in a very specialized thing like boating or you go off-roading and in the mountains where there's no cell coverage. You know, there's situations like that. But we navigate on the phone, right? I mean, how many devices did this thing replace, right? And it's ubiquitous now. It's like, who doesn't have a smartphone? You know what I'm saying? And now from there, all these other companies made phones and there's competition. And maybe Samsung sells more than Apple. I don't know. But Apple changed the world. Apple changed the game, you know? And I see where we are now with We Robot last night as like, this is another one of those moments. Like, where are we going to be 17 years from now, right? What is the world going to be like based on these things that are already being built? It's already happening. This isn't science fiction. Like, it already exists, okay? Now, like I said, this is my investment thesis for Tesla. It's not the cars, all right? It's the AI, it's the robotics, it's the future, it's how they change the world. Now, I'm just going to just give you a little thing just to show you, okay? On January 9th, 2007, Apple's share price was $3.09. Now, that's split adjusted because they've split several times since January of 2007. Apple's share price today is $227. That is 7,246% gain since Steve Jobs walked on stage and changed the world. All right, guys, 7,000%. And that's just a phone, right? And like Apple, I would argue, has kind of lost their mojo lately, right? Because the last 3 or 4 iPhones have all basically, they're not really innovating anymore. They're just incremental improvements. And if you're a nerd like me, you nerd out on that stuff. But really, you know, the camera got a little better, right? You know, I think really where Apple totally missed, and this is where the next wave is, and this is what Tesla is all about, was the AI revolution. Like, Apple has, how much data does Apple have on us, right? They've been in our pockets for 17 years. Every call I've made in the last 17 years basically has been on one of their devices. Every website I've visited has pretty much been on one of their, like, they have so much, and they totally whiffed on AI. They're trying to put Apple Intelligence in the phones. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I haven't really heard much about it. I mean, Google totally blew it. So I don't know. But, you know, but 7,246% gainer. And right now, the stock market has no idea how to value Tesla. They don't get it. You know, they just don't get it. You know, and you know, the stock kind of ran a little bit yesterday. It ran overnight when the announcements were being made up to like 250, and now it's at 220. So again, not financial advice. I'm just saying, if you watch that last night and you watch that presentation and you see the future, and then you think about what happened in 2007 with Steve Jobs and Apple with the iPhone and how that changed the world, I don't, you know, if you can kind of make that connection, I don't know, man, sky's the limit. But I'm so excited, man. I think it's amazing things that they're doing at Tesla, you know, and it was so cool that like my thesis and things I've been saying in these other videos, they were actually saying last night on stage. So I don't think I'm far off in my assessment. But that's it, guys. All right. So take some time, watch that really cool thing that happened. You know, life is good, man. You know, a lot of crazy things happening in the world, but you know, you gotta appreciate the victories. And that was a victory yesterday. All right. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. Happy Columbus Day. And you know, take care, everyone. Talk soon. Thanks.